Okay. So thank you everyone for being here, whether you're here with us on Zoom or watching from LinkedIn. Excited to kick off May's What the Buzz monthly chat. I'm Amy Keenan, the founder of the ISV Society, and today we're talking about something brand new that I'm really excited about, the ERP update. If you've worked in the ERP space any amount of time, you probably noticed something. Most information lives in one ecosystem. But the reality today is that organizations aren't operating in silos anymore. AI, automation, integrations, reporting, payments, forecasting, tax compliance, all of these conversations are happening across multiple ERP ecosystems at the same time. So we wanted to build a free resource where ERP users, partners, consultants, ISVs, developers, vendors could get a broader look and perspective on what's happening across the ERP landscape, not just inside one platform. So today I'm here with Murph, who helped me get this initiative off the ground. And we're going to talk about, hold on, let me invite someone else in, why we felt this was needed, the gap that we think exists in the market today, why ERP-agnostic education matters more than ever, and what kind of content can you expect and who will be creating some content. So I'm very excited to have Murph on to chat with me about this, and so we will get started. Are you ready to talk about why we felt this was needed, Murph?
I am. For probably at least two, maybe 3 years, I've been telling Gary we needed to increase our coverage of ERP. There was just one problem. It always competed with something else we needed to do. And so when he made this available, I said, yeah, let's get it done. Um, we also know that the environment is in a flux. Um, there's always questions about what's going to happen to QuickBooks, meaning QuickBooks Desktop. How soon is it going to go away, et cetera, et cetera? What are we going to do? Intuit doesn't seem to have a solution at the moment that necessarily fits all of the requirements for every user of desktop, especially those people who are using desktop enterprise. But we also know that there are solutions out there that are accommodating those kinds of people. Maybe not so much if you're just run the little mom and pop store that has been using Pro all your life, but especially for those people who are trying to run very inventory centric and manufacturing centric and construction centric and wholesale centric and e-commerce and all of that off of your enterprise platform. And so what we're going to try to do is provide straight from the horse's mouth those solutions that are available for small and medium businesses. And we'll throw in a few that are industry specific for larger enterprise type businesses.
Yeah, I feel like, I've been in this space a very long time, as you have as well, and I've always operated as specific ERPs. But then when I started the ISV Society, I'm like, I wanted it to be ERP agnostic because we all know that partners and users are always looking at different ERPs, as well as ISVs integrate with many of those different ERPs. So it's nice to be able to have one place where we can share all of this content and an integrated way because everything is working in silos. You have to go to Acumatica for their information, NetSuite for their information, Intuit for their information, Sage, whatever. And so it'll be nice for all of them to kind of create this content in here for all of us to, as a resource and as a tool. So the gap we think exists in the market, Murph, is like those silos, right? And everyone's talking about the same things, AI, automation, forecasting, budgeting, but they're all talking about it in their own ecosystems.
And the thing is that it's not just about the product that is kind of siloed in terms of the information. Uh, and End users potentially have to go jump around. But even people like pro advisors and accountants and business consultants who have made their practice in one area and then now are considering ERP as an alternative, and they're trying to decide, what ERP am I going to support? Or am I going to have to support multiple ERPs? Or what ERP is best for this versus that, etc.
Hmm.
And when they go talk to a salesman, it's all about them. Well, again, we're going to publish articles that come straight from the developers, but they're geared towards factual information and um, even very detailed, as we'll talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. And so why do you think ERP agnostic education matters more than ever?
Because people are having to make choices. People are having to decide what is best. And, I've had a few clients that said, well, I'd like to hear from ERP XYZ, and I'd like to hear from ERP ABC. And I want to go through the process with each of them. Uh, Sometimes those processes take
Hmm.
4 to 6 months in terms of just getting to the point that you're ready to pull the trigger and sign a contract. And so, if you're going to work with more than one, um, in order to decide, you're going to have a long approach. On the other hand, if if you've got a resource that can compare for you accurately, this feature versus that feature, how long for this product versus that long, and yes, what it costs and what it costs, uh, you're gonna have a resource that really is geared towards letting you decide what's best.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. So before we dive into actually what kind of content everyone can expect, I just want to give guys a little bit of high level overview of the ERP update and the website, which we will share the link for. It is live now, but it's officially going live on May 14th, just 2 days from now. So it's very exciting. And we will be sharing the link with everybody. So don't worry, those of you who registered or attended today, as well as anybody that reaches out to me or Murph, we will share that link for you. You do have to create a login, but it's free. Like I mentioned, hold on, please. So there will be a login, obviously, but it's free to join and it's free to be a part of. And the reason why we want this login is because we will be sending out weekly newsletters as well with all of kind of like high level of what you can find on the site, what's new, what you need to know about. And then you can go dive into the actual site to get more of that content, read the full article, see whatever it is that you want to get more information on. And it's just a great way for us to see as well what everyone's clicking on, what they are interested in, so that we can create more of that content, especially around industries and ERPs, and as well as automation reporting, like what you want to hear, what you're most interested in. So we just want to make sure we're bringing all of that content to you. And it's going to be all out there on the ERP updates. So very excited for this, and can't wait to share it with you and can't wait to get your feedback. So who can we expect content from, Murph? You worked very hard on this.
Uh, when I started to reach out to ERPs, which I go to essentially every ERP show every year, but when I reached out to them, I said, this is a win win win. It's a win for you because you're going to have the opportunity to put your information in front of people who potentially might not ever see your information.
Mhm.
It's a win for our readers because, yes, regardless of whether you are an end user, a business owner, etc., or you're a somebody who's considering uh, becoming a representative for an ERP, or whether you're potentially even somebody who currently is developing apps for maybe the small guys and you're trying to decide, am I going to actually integrate with one of these big ERPs in a much tighter structure? Regardless of that, those people are all going to be reading this resource. And then, of course, it's a benefit for us because we gain readership.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, right off the bat, we had Acumatica and Intuit Enterprise Suite, Sage Intacct, and Oracle NetSuite all agreed that they would provide at least one feature a month for us. So every week we'll be rolling out a new feature from one of those four. We've been talking also with Oracle about writing about their Fusion Cloud product, not just NetSuite, and also with Sage about writing about their X3 ERP, which they're getting ready to take into a full cloud product. And they'll be joining at some point. Also, Microsoft Dynamics, and we'll probably start with Business Central and then add their more complex version that's geared towards heavy industry and supply chain, etc. Um, Now, in terms of what kind of content, well, each of the ERP solutions will write about their own solution. We've told them, yeah, we're not asking you to write generic. We want you to discuss uh, your your solution. We especially are interested in them offering up stories of how those solutions actually solved a customer's problems or issues. Um, And so we expect that we'll have about a 50-50 mix of product. Uh, and that product information will be both a high level and then even a much tighter level, what I always refer to as how to ERP. In other words, a specific feature function eh, that they go step by step through. And what I've asked them to do is pick the ones people are having the most problems with and then write a story about that. The other thing is that each of them have the opportunity to write towards those potential uh, partners, those potential people who are thinking about adding ERP to their bailiwick. And so they're going to be writing stories about ERP for advisors. And that's geared towards here's what we can do for you, here's how we can help you, here's how we can jointly work to get one of your customers, one of your clients onto their platform.
Yes, and not only, just so everybody knows, yes, we have those ERPs right now providing content, but we will be expanding into other ecosystems as well. So we're looking at Epicor and for SAP and some more. So we're just going to keep adding to the mix as we grow and build out the ERP update. And we also have our founding sponsors, and we'll be also having ISVs creating content, or developers creating content, educational content, industry specific content. So a huge shout out to our founding sponsors so far, which is Flywire and Use. So very excited to have AR and AP as a founding sponsor, and we'll be adding a few more to the mix as well. So you'll also get content from just people in the ecosystem that write about it. So we're looking at, and if you're interested in writing content, certainly you can reach out to us. We're always looking, we want to put as much fresh and new content out there as possible. So a lot of it will be trends, tips and tricks, like I said, industry specific and or functional specific around automation and AI and such. So we'll be creating all of that content, posting it out there weekly as often as we can and as often as we get it. But we are building out that and reaching out to people to provide that content to us. So just expect all of this content to keep growing as the weeks go on. And so that's why we'll be sending out the weekly newsletter, because there'll be a lot of content out there. So we just want to provide a high level overview of what's new that week. So that way what's out there and what ones you actually want to go read, or what's more relevant to you and what you're looking for. And I think that that's it from my perspective on that. All
Well,
right.
yeah, right now I've got at least a half a dozen people that I'm talking to who are, I call them co-developers, but they're people who you traditionally think of as app developers. But when it comes to an ERP, it's more than just a plug-in. It's a tight integration. You typically don't even know when you're necessarily using that functionality that came from somebody else within a particular ERP. And we've got a group of those people who are also interested in writing about their relationships with the ERPs we're covering.
Yeah, and also on the site, you'll find that there's going to be a webinars section. So we will be launching a webinar series called Platform Talks. So it'll be Murph and I and somebody else. And so stay tuned for that, because we will slowly build those out, whether it's monthly or quarterly. We will get that information to you. And as well as we'll have all of the events that are going on in the ecosystem there. We'll have a directory of developers that you can look up, and we'll have the webinar section, as well as highlights, resources, downloadable assets as well. So that'll all be available on the site that you'll be able to have access to.
Yeah, I just loaded 4 webinars on IES, and I'll bet that 99% of the people who try to go find IES webinars, I can't even find them on Intuit's site, but they're all right there on our site, and you can read all about it and then go register all in one click.
There you go. All right, so I think that covers everything about the launch of the ERP update. As I mentioned, we're very excited about this launch, officially launching. It is now live, but officially launching 2 days from now. So make sure again that you sign up, and so you can get free access to all of this amazing content. And what's also great is that the developers we are working with, the ERPs we are working with, will be promoting their information on the site as well. So that's pretty exciting. Murph, I don't know if you'll share a little bit about that too before we wrap up.
Well, I just really want to say for those of you that read Insightful Accountant, I don't want you to think that I'm still not going to be working 8 days a week writing content for over there because I'm doing this over here. No, it's just double duty. So, yeah. But I think this is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of people who've been scared of even the idea of ERP to find that they're not nearly as scary as you might think. Uh, they're not the big old beasts like they used to be, and people are finding them easier to transition to, less timely to transition to, and less costly to transition to, and that there is less of a learning curve than they certainly expect when they transition. So,
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here for the May monthly chat. So excited that you're here joining us. I hope you sign up and join us on the ERP update. And if you do have any questions, just let me know. But I will see you next month in June for our next one. So thank you, everyone.